Alright, I'm live out here in front of Caesar's Palace, the site of what BR Mag dubbed the greatest game never played. It was MJ, Magic Johnson, summer of 1990, one-on-one, pay-per-view for $1 million, but never happened.
Welcome back to the Laker pregame show. I'm Roy Firestone. You know, one of the hot topics of the new year has been Magic and Michael, EJ, and Air J. A made-for-TV one-on-one pitting Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan.
What's up, all? JC3 here, the baller of YouTube, the general. Welcome to Topic Tackle. My take for today is on what would have been one of the greatest one-on-one matchups of all time between Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan during the summer of 1990 at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas.
That's not a thing!
It actually is a thing. I encountered this story via Twitter, which proves good things can come from Twitter on rare occasions. I was absolutely blown away when I saw it. Consider the circumstances. This is 1990. MJ had yet to make a finals, and Magic was the reigning MVP with 5 championships under his belt. This would have definitely been the matchup between a player with something to prove and an accomplished vet looking to retain one of the top spots in the league's hierarchy. Except, here's that word again. This would have been a must-see matchup between all-time greats. So why did it never happen? To begin, let's look at how this became a near reality. Lou DiBella and Seth Abraham are two important names here, as they had been so dominant in managing pay-per-view boxing for HBO that by the end of the 1980s, they set out in search of their next lucrative sporting moment. DiBella aimed for a truly monstrous event, but as it would be difficult to generate enough money for a one-off type of event, he was intrigued by the pay-per-view option that, according to him, might be a perfect way to do some kind of event in another sport that could rise to the magnitude that it would captivate people. Pause for a second. MJ vs. Magic would have been the pilot for an annual series of King of the Court one-on-one matchups. Just think about what this could have produced down the line. Seth Abraham had been the vice president of sports programming for HBO, so DiBella and Abraham bounced around ideas and came up with the Jordan vs. Magic one-on-one matchup. To help, Abraham shared a relationship with Commissioner David Stern and believed their bond could help bridge a deal that he estimates could have generated as much as $100 million in revenue. Abraham then approached Magic's agent with the idea. Now, according to Magic, he's the one who came up with the idea for a one-on-one matchup in the summer of 1989, and his people and MJ's people decided to go ahead with it for the summer of 1990. According to a January 15th, 1990 LA Times article, the one-on-one contest would have featured 2 15-minute halves broadcast on cable TV for an estimated $20 per view. Rich Rose, the director of sports at Caesar's Palace, along with his bosses, were game for hosting this matchup, and this ad inside Caesar's Palace also confirms the legitimacy of this report. Now, MJ at the time was known mostly for his incredible scoring ability, and he was the league's top scorer since 1986. The Las Vegas Hilton Race and Sports Superbook listed Jordan as a 2.5 to 1 favorite over Johnson, and this reigns true when you look at Caesar's Palace betting tickets in favor of MJ, which also includes the King of the Court logo. This thing was branded, set for pay-per-view, hyped, ready to go. But how could this even happen in the first place? Like, let's be real here. Wouldn't contract restrictions forbid NBA players from participating and profiting from such a matchup that was non-NBA branded and also an injury risk? Well, according to BR Mag, bizarre sports crossovers and contract loophole matchups were entering something of the pre-boom time norm. MTV had a burgeoning franchise in Rock and Jock, and by the way, if y'all don't know about that show, it aired during the 90s. That thing was crazy. Alright, just look at this. Look at this footage. Anyway, the point is, times were much different back then, and so were player contracts and the stipulations within them. In fact, Magic had a clause in his contract that allowed him to play sports outside of basketball, and his agent Lon Rosen said he could have been a football player at the time without getting permission. MJ's contract had once included a love of the game provision that allowed him to play basketball anywhere or anytime during the offseason. Again, much different times, people. Okay, so we're back to the original question. How did this game, which several major media outlets had reported as all but a done deal with 2 of the NBA's biggest stars who had agreed to the terms and the negotiated payout, fall through? Well, as news about the matchup began to spread, the Players Union, led by President Isaiah Thomas, began to voice their displeasure, with Thomas saying, "I believe that this sets a bad precedent." Some people started rumors that Thomas wanted to prevent this matchup due to the long-standing feud between him and Jordan, which Michael addressed in an interview.
But a lot of people feel that, and I don't know how that came about, was that the differences between Isaiah and myself was the reason that the Players Union went against it. I don't know if that's true, and I hope not. I don't think it would be.
And in retrospect, I don't believe this feud was the reason why the game never happened. More so, it was due to the business behind it that didn't line up with the NBA and NBPA's best interests. At the time, NBC had just agreed to pay the league a record $601 million for 4 seasons of broadcasting rights, and TNT had ponied up an additional $275 million. This one-on-one would have aired on HBO and generated a lot of money for them, and they were not one of the NBA's official broadcasting partners. Gambling was also a problem, and this matchup was tailor-made for it. According to Magic's agent, Lon Rosen, David Stern actually called him asking that Johnson not participate. For Jordan, he seemed interested, yet not interested at the same time. He said in an interview that the league and the union should not prevent 2 individuals from making a business proposition. Yet, according to his agent David Falk, Jordan also said about the game, "If I win, people will say, so what did you expect? It's what Michael is. He's a one-on-one player. And if I lose, then I don't have the rings or the title. So what's the point of doing it?" The potential monstrous event that could have changed off seasons forever turned into a headache for the NBA, culminating years later in an antitrust lawsuit that, according to court documents obtained by BR Mag, accused the league of paying the players union as much as $1.35 million to block such off-season matchups from then on. Although the clash of the legends one-on-one between past their primes players such as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Julius Erving did occur on February 28, 1992, it was a flop to say the least. Perhaps the closest thing to an MJ Magic one-on-one that ever happened was during the infamous 1992 Dream Team practice, one in which little footage exists to represent. But let's think about this. If the king of the court matchup did end up happening, it could have changed off-season basketball forever. Imagine Kobe T-Mac one-on-one, KD LeBron one-on-one. Don't trip, I'd have the popcorn ready, people. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Who would have won this one-on-one matchup, Magic Johnson or Michael Jordan? Remember, subscribe, like, leave your feedback in the comments down below, and we'll be back with more Topic Tackle coming soon. JC3, out!